Thank you. Welcome to the panel, and thank you all for being here. This is a very important session that builds on the discussions we've been having since yesterday. It's a session that talks about the nexus of essentially the tripod of agriculture productivity: soil, water, and the changes in climate, and therefore all the products around the changes in climate, right? And I think this also is a session that focuses truly on the word next, which is the main theme of this dialogue. We talked about Green Revolution yesterday. I think among a lot of things that Green Revolution did, I think it also provided us the most profound examples of what is possible. Of course, the production in this country went from 75 million tons to over 300 million tons today. But something that is also to be reminded is this is a country where this dialogue is hosted. It used to be one of the largest food aid recipient in the world. In early 50s, this was a country where 25% of its staple requirement came from foreign aid. And today, this is a country that also is the world's largest producer of food and the world's largest exporter of food. So Green Revolution, among a lot of other things, told us what science can do. And what is possible. When we talk about the next phase, which is the theme of this conference, the next phase, do we want to call it Green Revolution? We can call it whatever, but the next phase in agriculture will have to be dependent not only and focus not only on production and productivity for the country, but also profitability for the farmers. And that's going to be very, very important in terms of the changes that we are talking about in this session, the climates and so forth, right? And so I want this panel to really, really focus on solutions and not diagnosing the problem further. I think we as a world, our understanding of what the problem around climate is has evolved quite significantly over the years, but we are, may I say this, we are in a very, very nascent stage of finding real, concrete, scalable solutions. And I want this panel to be focused on solutions and not diagnosing the problem further. So with that, I would like to start with this panel. It's a fantastic group of people who span policy making to farming to R&D and also private sector. So I will start with my first panelist, Ms. Chetna Bai Sahu. Chetna ji is a farmer from Madhya Pradesh, central India, and is predominantly a wheat farmer, but like most of the smallholder farmers in this country also has livestock. Over 80% of this country's milk does not come from livestock farmers. It comes from crop farmers who happen to also keep a livestock in their farms. And that is the kind of farming system that Chetna ji represents. So Chetna ji, aapse shuru karungi main. कहा गया था हमसे कि आपने काफ़ी सारे चेंजेस करे हैं अपने खेती में, ये जैसे जैसे ये क्लाइमेट में चेंज आया, पानी कम हो गया, ज़मीन का जो क्वालिटी है वो चेंज हो गया, उसकी वजह से आपने काफ़ी सारे चेंजेस करे हैं आपके फार्मिंग में. तो क्या चेंजेस करे हैं और उससे आपको क्या क्या फ़ायदा हुआ? Just for our international audience, we are asking Chetna ji to tell us about the changes she has had to make due to changes in climate in her farm, and what are the benefits that she sees out of that. Chetna ji?
पहले पहले हम पुराने पद्धति से ही खेती करते आ रहे थे। उसमें ज़्यादा मेहनत लगता था और ज़्यादा खर्च भी लगता था, और खेतों को कई बार जुताई करवाते थे, 3 से 4 बार जुताई करवाते थे खेत में। इसके बाद बीज डालते थे। बीज डालने के बाद उसमें पानी चलाते थे, और वही 1 एकड़ में हमने पहले 70 से 80 किलो बीज डालते थे, और उपज होती थी हमारी 10 से 12 कुंटल। उसमें बढ़ोतरी नहीं हुई। फिर बीसा से सर आए, हमको समझाए कि आप इस तरीके से खेती मत करो। हमने पूछे उनसे, तो हमको बताए कि पराली को, जो धान की पराली होती है, उसको मत जलाओ। हमने नहीं जलाया और शून्य जुताई अपनाया। उसमें हमने जुताई नहीं करवाए, सीधे हैप्पी सीडर से ही खेत की बुवाई करवा दिए। उसमें हमको कम बीज लगा। उसमें 40 से 45 किलो ही बीज डाले, और समय की हमको बचत हो गई और आमदनी अधिक हुआ। उसमें उपज में बढ़ोतरी हुई, 18 से 20 कुंटल तक हमको उपज मिली। बढ़ोतरी बहुत हुई और समय कम लगा, मेहनत भी कम लगा, लागत भी कम लगा, और जो समय बचा उसमें हम अपने घर परिवारों के साथ मिलके अच्छे से रहे। इसके बाद हमने गेहूं की जो डंठल होती है, कभी हमने गेहूं मूंग की खेती नहीं किए थे मूंग की। तो सर ने हमको समझाया कि गर्मी का खेती भी करके देखो। हमने फिर वो गेहूं के डंठल को नहीं जलाए। इसके बाद हमने डायरेक्ट उसमें मूंग की बुवाई करवा दिए। बुवाई करवाने के बाद मूंग की उपज हमको अच्छा उत्पादन हुआ, और जो मूंग के डंठल थे और भूसा थे, उससे नाइट्रोजन बना रहा और जैविक तत्व सक्रिय रहे, और पराली नहीं जलाए तो खेतों की नमी बनी रहती है। जी,
थैंक यू चेतना जी। Dr. Prasanna, I wanted to ask you about mainly about CIMMYT and a large number of technologies that you have been developing. What are a few breakthroughs, and how do you think this is really helping not just incrementally but transform some of the, especially the soil health part of it, and ultimately then smallholder farmers farming system?
Thank you, Purvi. A few things, not only CIMMYT, but many of our CG centers are pioneering together with the national partners in sub-Saharan Africa and Asia, which are indeed the hotspots for climate change, I would call it. South Asia and sub-Saharan Africa. What technologies CG centers together with partners locally have developed and deployed at the wide scale is undoubtedly the climate resilient crop varieties. Today, for instance, in sub-Saharan Africa across 13 countries, CGIR related drought tolerant maize together with disease resistance and insect resistance are deployed in 8.5 million hectares. When I joined CIMMYT in 2010, it was hardly 0.5 million hectares. Within 13 to 14 years, this has gone up to 8.5 million hectares, thanks to a spectrum of public-private partnerships that we have forged. Over 200 seed companies are working together with CIMMYT in sub-Saharan Africa alone. The same story we are now replicating in South Asia, thanks to the climate adaptive maize that we have been working on since almost 20 years in India as a breeding hub. That includes drought-tolerant maize, drought plus heat-tolerant maize, waterlogging tolerant maize, together again with the disease resistance and other farmer adaptive traits. That has reached now almost 3,000 metric tons of certified seed, and over 200,000 farmers have adopted. But again, if you look at the scale, there is a lot more to do here. This needs to be scaled up at least 10 to 15-fold if India has to meet the demand of maize for a diverse facets of use now. The second most important thing, improved seed alone will not suffice. It needs to be clubbed with improved agronomic management. Work in both Asia as well as in Africa showed very clearly that if we combine this climate resilient seed with climate smart agronomic practices, the benefit is almost 30 to 40% in terms of grain yield. So that's the story that we need to build on. Not a single technology can provide the solution when you have these changing climates. Improved genetics combined with improved agronomy, combined with enabling policies. That is the mantra for success wherever we go in the global south to adapt to the changing climate.
Thank you, Dr. Prasanna. You spoke about CIMMYT's partnerships with private sector, and our next panelist is from private sector, who is the Sandeep Konaji. He is the founder and CEO of Krishi Tantra. Sandeepji, you have been working on, especially on diagnosis, right? How do you think that is really affecting the day-to-day lives of the farmers, the incomes of the farmers, and the farming system in general? Affordability of any technologies. Prasanna, you spoke about technologies, but I think a technology that's accessible and affordable and therefore scalable is going to be the most important technologies to take to the farmers. And I think as private sector, you are working on developing these technologies and kits which are affordable to smallholder farmers. So Sandeepji, any inputs on that one?
Thank you, Purvi, for that. The first thing is availability, right? So we need to make technology available. So whether the technology exists, yes, it exists at a research level, institutional level. Go to Agri University or any of the Agri research institution, you have soil diagnosis, and there are various methodologies to achieve this. But when we cross the gate of these institutions, it ends there. So farmers don't have access to this information. So that is where we started working closely with research institutions like ICR institution. So initially we started to collaborate with IIRI institution, then IIRR in Hyderabad, then PJTSAU. So Praveen Rao sir was very instrumental during that time. Now is with Kaveri University. We are working with these institutions to build these lab-based technologies and integrate those with advanced technologies, whether be it IoT, artificial intelligence, cloud-based solutions, and make it available and accessible to the farmers. And one of the biggest success that we saw was when we were been nominated by Government of India, Ministry of Agriculture, to revamp the whole soil health card digital infrastructure. So that is one of the biggest success where we saw how digitization of this information and making it accessible to farmers can bring an impact and also a positive change at the agriculture, at the grassroots levels. So affordability, yes. So we have, so Government of India itself is subsidizing soil health card, which is free of cost to the farmers. But even otherwise, these technologies, when we bring value, so it will automatically become affordable to the farmers. So when they start seeing, it is just like we take medicine after doing blood test. So we certainly see a positive change, both economically and also health-wise. So the same will be relevant even for the soil health as well. When they do the diagnosis and then apply, the appropriate quantum and also the composition of the fertilizer, then there is a positive impact that will automatically come in. So it's only about making sure that every farmer have access to this, and we are in that journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next panelist is Dr. Srinivas Rao, who is the Director and Vice Chancellor of IARI. Professor Rao, you are at the helm of not just science development, but also from a policy making and policy prioritization perspective. How important is of course, policies and mainstreaming of that into how we have our agriculture policies? You know, how is it important to sort of bring in climate into that one? But also very importantly, it would be nice to know from you if there are any concrete examples of policy shifts that have been made and has started showing some impact on the ground. So thank you.
Thank you, madam. And of course, natural resource management is a very, very critical, as my previous speaker said, that particularly in the light of climate crisis, the natural resources just like water, soil, climate and biodiversity are playing much more critical role compared to maybe 30, 40 years back. Of course, when we do research, technology comes, and technology without policy, it cannot be implemented large scale. For example, if I take South Asia, or particularly India, we have 13 crore farmers and 6 lakh villages. Unless policy is strong and implementation at ground level, it won't reach to the million farmers and many, many farmers. In terms of course, water, India policy taking the clue of the climate and water, because nowadays both water quantity and quality is declining. And one of the important policy and program is watershed management in India. In fact, it is a very, very largely funded water management issues, water management challenges. And at the same time, then watershed management now evolved in Prime Minister Krishi Sinchai Yojana, that towards the micro irrigation. The clear impact which shows that when we do flood irrigation with 1 hectare with the same amount of water with micro irrigation, we can increase 5 times more the irrigation. And in India particularly, 50% still rain fed, so micro irrigation is a very, very critical. When it is so critical, a couple of years back, the micro irrigation was only 3 to 4 million hectares. Now it is touching almost 17 million hectares. In future, I believe that it takes many states and a larger area under micro irrigation. As per the soil health is important because India is a very tropical country, carbon content is very less. And as Sandeep said, that soil health card is important. We have been doing at micro level and the soil test laboratory. Unless the soil health card soil health mission came, and in fact it has sensitized every corner of the country, and it has taken large number of farmers are getting tested their thing, and along with that, fertilizer requirements are not more and not less, and we estimate at least 15% fertilizer reduction is there, and based on the soil health card mission beside improving soil carbon. I will take another example of policy impact, neem coated area. We all know climate crisis, nitrous oxide is emission, one of the greenhouse gas emission from agriculture and many sectors, but the entire neem coated area policy, in fact, which has taken that India entire urea, I think this is one of the biggest climate action in India which is taken. Entire urea which is supplied, by the time directly 10% the reduction in the bag size is impacted. And the third important is the climate, and we have a lot of institutional examples and policy impact, policy changes. And in fact, the policy came from the parliament that to build the climate resilient villages, agriculture contingency plans, and a national mission of sustainable agriculture. They have taken really a lot of impacts on the ground scale. For example, if I take that NICRA at the institutional level, it handled 102 institutions worked together, and also created climate resilient villages in 151 districts. For example, one impact if I see, that just 7 model villages implemented in Maharashtra now replicated in 5,000 villages now. Similarly, we can take that agriculture contingency plans now, in fact, all the agriculture districts are now climate preparedness plans are there, taking the success of the climate plans here, and other countries also taking, SAARC countries also taking. These are some of the impacts which our policy has created in climate as well as soil, water, natural resource management. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rao. I think, NICRA also focused a lot in your leadership on soil health, on, as you said, on the nutrition through irrigation and so forth. Our next panelist is from the International Fertilizer Development Center, Mr. Yashpal Saharwat, who is the Director of Resilience and Environment at the center. Just picking up from what Professor Rao just said, I'd like you to please tell us about how the nutrition management is going to be very, very important. Of course, this is a country, or the Green Revolution was predominantly standing on nitrogenous fertilizers and to a little extent phosphatic fertilizer, right, in a major sense. We know the requirement for nutrition for the soil now. We know that we will have to emphasize it more, especially as soil depletes more. We have a lot of data on depletion in productivity in crop, but we have very little on depletion of soil because of changes in climate or the higher nighttime temperature and so forth. So can you say a little more about the nutrition angle for the soil, also from a fertilizer association?
Thank you, Dr. Purvi, and a very good morning to all of you. And as Dr. Purvi has talked about the nitrogen, so I will start from there only. If we take the last 100 years, one of the landmark in the fertilizer sector has been the Haber-Bosch process. And the literature study shows that the world population would have been half as on today if that discovery has not been made. So starting from that one, that plant nutrition is very important. And India is the land of Green Revolution. Our food grain production has increased by almost 6 times, but at what cost? I'm just touching one point of that one, that our fertilizer use has increased almost 471 times to increase the food grain production by 6 times. And what is behind that one? The efficiency of the fertilizer, specifically of the nitrogen, it is almost 30%, and the government of India is providing a subsidy of almost 20 to 25 billion US dollars annually, which was almost $1 billion in 2020. So we can see the progress of that one. So if we see what the impact of fertilizer, it has improved the productivity. So as we say that the fertilizers have not failed us in improving the productivity, but the hinder side is that the nutrient use efficiency is very low, which is leading to climate change, which is leading to the soil health degradation, and also impacting the human health through the One Health, because soil health is important, which leads to environmental health and to the One Health. So what needs to be done? So reframing the next generation of soil health or the fertilizer management study would require that we need to have a transition from a fertilizer-centric approach to a soil health-centric approach. And when I say it as a soil health-centric approach, it means we need to feed the soil which can feed to the plant. And for that one, as International Fertilizer Development Center, which is the only public global research center on the fertilizers, we are working on the next generation of ISFM, Integrated Soil Fertility Management, next generation of site-specific nutrient management, and moving towards the mechanization of fertilizer displacement. And as you all know that in India, almost 90 to 95% of the fertilizers are still being broadcasted on the soil surface. And Dr. Sidhu is here. In the last 2 years, with the help of him, we have modified the already existing zero-till drill and also the paddy transplanter, that in a one-go operation, we can completely place the seed as well as fertilizer at a depth of 6 to 7 centimeters. What it helps is that it not only improves the nutrient use efficiency, which is almost 30% at the moment, it improves to 60 to 70%. It is a one-go operation, as well as it improves the yields by 50 to 60%. And the biggest advantage is that the greenhouse gas emission are reduced by 60 to 90% based on the crop, soil, and the cropping system. The second important part is the ISM, next generation ISFM. Why we are calling it the next generation ISFM? As on today in the ISFM, we are talking about either organic fertilizer or synthetic or chemical fertilizer. Now we are mixing these both into a organomineral fertilizer, where we are doing a mapping of that what kind of organic fertilizer sources are available and how many nutrients those can supply within that region, and then blend them with the urea, DAP, or the nitrogen and phosphorus based fertilizer, so that in itself it can supply the full nutrient demand of the system. Then we are moving towards as my colleague has talked about the soil health card. There need to have a continuity on the soil health card, the monitoring of that one, that can be either 3 or 5 year. But a farmer is having a soil health card, the use is not there because still the sources of this fertilizer are urea, DAP, and MOP. So can we have those blends of organomineral fertilizer for that particular region? Like for acid soil, urea and DAP or the ammonia-based fertilizer are not ideal. So can we have different sources for that one? We are also working towards an approach for 4R approach, where right sources, right time, right dose, and right place. But when we talk about the right sources of the fertilizers, in that one, we need, IFDC is working a lot on the enhanced efficiency fertilizers, biologicals, organominerals, and also biofertilizers, and then linking this to the carbon farming market. Then when we talk about the plant nutrition system, the major emissions are from the production of the fertilizer, specifically nitrogen-based fertilizer. So IFDC is working a lot on the green ammonia, which is, India is fortunate on that one, that we have all the renewable energy. But for India, we have just working with the coal ministry with a new concept, because we are sitting on the one of the biggest, largest mines of the coal in India. But the ash content is very high in that one. So a new technology called gasification, that can help us to be self-sustainable in India, that with the mines of the coal, the urea fertilizer, it can be produced. And another big approach that IFDC has taken, that in the last 50 years we were working only from the US, and those technologies were being rolled into developing world. Now we are decentralizing, and we are working towards a global network of fertilizer innovation center, and India is one of the part where it will be a public-private sector-based innovation center, where there are 4 key components that we are taking: how we can make the fertilizer production more efficient, how we can have the enhanced efficiency fertilizers, including organominerals, biologicals, and all others. The third part is how we can create a next generation of fertilizer researchers, as well as the soil doctors at the village level or at the block level. And the last part of that fertilizer innovation center is that how we can have the science-driven policies for the better fertilizer use. And in the last, I would say that when we have to achieve all of these, it should be done in a close linkage between the science, policy, and the farmers, where science can deliver low cost and high impact innovations. The policy is science driven, and that is enabling the innovations, and the farmers, they are empowered to be as the custodian of the soil health. And Dr. A.K. Singh is here, we have already started, and Dr. Srinivas Rao is also here. We have already started working on a Bharat soil health policy, so it may be soon, the details of that one will be soon available to all of you. Thank you very much, Dr. Puri.
Thank you very much. Prasanna, you wanted to add something for a minute?
If I don't add this, one of the most important genetic innovations that's perhaps going to revolutionize nitrogen use efficiency is a trait called biological nitrification inhibition, or BNI trait. We are fortunate to have forged a very strong collaboration with JIRCAS and Zyka in Japan, which enables natural introgression of this trait into crops like wheat, in crops like maize, and even sorghum, pearl millet, and rice. And this has an enormous advantage in terms of saving the farmers' need to apply fertilizers at such a large scale while improving the utilization and the efficiency of fertilizers like nitrogenous fertilizers. So this is something that would come up very soon. Guntur, Subbarao and Kishi are there in the audience. Please do get more details from the ZICAS team, which are pioneering this BNI technology together with CIMIT and BISA.
I think, the BNI technology also says that, it's important to build that kind of resistance among the plant, efficiency among the plant, and efficiency from outside the plant through soil and water and other natural resource management system. So thank you very much. I think we are going to get one slide up. But while that happens, I'm going to start from that side, and I'm going to give 1 minute punchlines and exactly 1 minute to each panelist to give us a take-home message. But I'm really hoping that the take-home message will be, again, around solutions.
Thank you, Dr. Purvi, again. And earlier, when we were talking about the plant nutrient management, we were talking about the 4 R's. But the next generation of plant nutrient management, it is about the 8 R's. So the first 4 R's are the same, that right source, right time, right dose, and right place. But as we see that a lot of nutrients, when we are going from the rural sector to the urban sector, and also when we import or export the food, we are also importing and exporting the nutrients. So therefore, there is a need to go for reduce, reuse, recycle, and restore the soil health. So these 8 R's are important when we talk about the next generation plant nutrient management. And the next generation plant nutrient management is not only about increasing the productivity, it is also about improving the soil health or restoring the soil health. It is also about restoring the environmental health, and which is leading to the One Health concept, as well as it is also important to improve the nutrition. And for that one, what is important required that global innovation centers are required for that one, and enabling policies are required for that one, and that's linked to the farmers as the custodians. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Rao.
Thank you once again. And the important point is that for future sustainability of agriculture, it is very important that how we produce each ton of food grain with limited greenhouse gases and carbon footprint. For that, I think earlier we have been doing various technologies, but now the era which has come, how to synergize, how technology synergizing. For example, it's not only soil, water, climate, biodiversity, along with genetics and plant protection. When we integrate all the technology, that is called integrated genetic natural resource management, then I think if all the technologies have to go in integrated fashion in single farm unit, then only I think future sustainability is important. At the same time, it's not only technology integration and synergy, it is a research, technology, policy, and program implementation need to be synergized to see that such impacts at the ground scale, at the village, at the farmer scale. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think everyone are convinced that soil health plays a fundamental, and at a foundation level, soil health plays a very important role. And going beyond soil health, I mean the outcome of all the productivity and all the the economical benefit by a farmer will entirely remain on the soil health. So making soil health information should be a fundamental right for any of the farmer, and they should have as a mandate that anything that has to be done, whether maybe a fertilizer application, the combination of the fertilizer, everything will have to revolve around this soil health in the form of one is the technology, of course, but very importantly policy that will enable this.
As Srinivas rightly pointed out, three things are absolutely important as our next course of actions. One, multidisciplinarity has to be the mantra. The soil, water, climate nexus cannot be sustainably improved without that multidisciplinarity. Extensive partnerships, both at the national and the international level, are vital for us to not only get technological breakthroughs, but also to systematically test them, validate them under the farmers' field conditions, and then taking them to scale through public-private partnerships. And the third most important aspect is policy support is absolutely critical. We cannot make progress just through technologies or science alone. Policies are extremely important for reaching out to at a very large scale the millions of smallholder farmers whose livelihoods we would like to improve on a daily basis. Thank you.
Chetna ji.
पराली को जलाना बंद करें और जो मिट्टी और जल है उसकी सुरक्षा करें और समय समय में अपने खेतों को खाद बीज देते रहें। जी,
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's a very, very important message. Look after your soil, look after your water, and keep investing into these things, and harnessing the return on investment is what it is. I think as a conclusion, I would like to say two key points just coming out of this panel. Number one is incentivizing adoption of technologies and adaptation of climate. Farmers anywhere in the world don't farm just because they are interested in a country's food security and just because they want to protect the environment. They farm because the biggest incentive is that's their livelihood, and they need profitability out of it. So any technology that's affordable, accessible, and does not come with yield penalty and income penalty is going to be extremely important in our thrust for developing technologies. I think these things and the scalability will have to be very important. My second and last point that I really want all of us to take back is the way we have defined farmers. We have always defined farmers, no matter where in the world we are. We have colleagues from Iowa, Mexico, India. The way we have defined the farmer is the amount of land he or she owns. It is not the land that translate into profitability. It is the quality of soil that kind of, so one can own 100 acre of land, but if it does not have water, if does not have the quality of soil, the income is not going to be. One can own 1 acre of fertile soil and can earn much more than that 100 acres. So I think the definition of farmers that we've been talking about till now, which is on the amount of land, needs to be changed and needs to have it as the quality of land or the quality of soil that person owns. With that, I want to thank my panel and thank all of you for this extremely important and very, very time-sensitive subject. Thank you.